Good day. Welcome to P&G Economics Online class. This class is a special class that is dedicated to discussing economics past questions in WAEC O level. And this series is of many parts, but this is the first part. And this part comprises of about 30 well-selected questions from WAEC. Now, the first question we are considering, number one, says that the sufficient condition for a firm to be in equilibrium is that what the question is simply saying is that before a firm can be in equilibrium, what is expected? Well, the first option says that the marginal revenue curve is above the average revenue curve. That condition will never make a firm to be in equilibrium. Let's look at number two. Number two says the marginal cost curve cuts the marginal revenue curve from below. If that ever happens, then it is said that such a firm is equilibrium. As a matter of fact, it is stated that whenever MC, which is marginal cost, equals MR, which is the marginal revenue, whenever that happens, then such a firm is at equilibrium. Take note of that. So whenever the MC cuts MR from below, we are going to have what is known as market or firm equilibrium. So the option C, of course, can never be the answer, which says that the firm must show that it is profitable. No, that is not what equilibrium says. So option B is correct. Option B is the correct answer. So let's move to question number 2. It says the minimum price legislation is also called dash. Of course, price legislation, as we all know, also known as price control, is determined by government or its agencies set the price of essential commodities in the market or in the economy. Now, the first option says price ceiling. Of course, price ceiling is not the answer, because price ceiling is the opposite of that minimum price, because price ceiling is also known as maximum price in economics. So, and that one is whenever the price it is set below the equilibrium price. Price mechanism, of course, it is not the answer, because price mechanism means the determination of price by the force of demand and supply. But the correct option is D, price floor. Price floor is also known as minimum price, and this is when government sets price of a commodity above the equilibrium price. And the reason or the essence of that, of course, is to favor the producer. So the correct option is D. Question number 3 says, which of the following factors is not a cause of change in demand? Which one of them? Well, there are two of these concepts we study in economics under demand, which are change in quantity demanded and change in demand. These two concepts, they are somewhat related, but yet they are not the same thing. Now, when we are talking about change in quantity demanded, this has to do with when the price, which is one of the factors that affects a demand, cause a change in demand. And this one normally happens along the same demand curve, either up or down, but it's happening along that same curve. So under the change in quantity demanded, the only thing that can cause it, of course, is price. But when I'm talking about change in demand now, this one can either be when the demand curve either shifts outward or shifts inward. And the factors that can cause this are other factors that affect demand other than price. So some of those factors could be the size of the population, is part of those factors. It could be the price of the commodity. It could be size of the population, income distribution, taste and faction. So all of these factors that I've mentioned can cause a change in demand. But the only one that can never cause a change in demand is the price of the commodity, because that itself is known as change in quantity demanded. So price is not a factor that can cause a change in demand. Then we move to question number 4. Question number 4 says that if the quantity demanded of a commodity increases from 20 units to 30 units when there is an increase in price from $4 to $5, the elasticity of demand is, that means we have to calculate the elasticity of demand here. Now remember, when we were taught elasticity of demand, we're told that elasticity of demand, which is ES, of course, is equal to the percentage change in quantity demanded, all over the percentage change in price of that same commodity. So now, what's the percentage change in quantity demanded in this question here? Remember, the quantity increases from 20 units to 30 units. So if you find a change in that, that is 30 minus 20, which is 10, and 10 over the old quantity, which is 20, it will give us half, or 1 over 2. And 1 over 2 times 100% is 50%. So the percentage change in quantity demanded is 50%. Now all over our percentage change in price. Now what's percentage change in price here? We're also going to be change in price over old price times 100%. So the change in price is 5 minus 4, which is 1. The old price is 4. They multiply by 100%. 1 over 4 times 100% is 25%. So we are having 50% all over 25%. And if you divide this, that will give us 2. So therefore, the correct answer there is A, which is 2. Now, the next question says, cooperative societies are formed mainly to do what? What is the main objective of forming cooperative society? Well, the correct answer to that answer there is to promote and maintain the welfare of their members. That is the main reasons why they form them. So the members, they come together, they live in the same private area or region or state, or they must be very close to one another, and they put their resources together to promote the welfare, the economic welfare and well-being of their members. So that is the main objective why cooperative societies are formed. Now question number 6 says that the use of bank rates, cash ratio and open market operation constitute what? Well, there are different policies listed in this option. We have the monetary policy, we have the export policy, C, we have the fiscal policy, and D, we have the import policy. Well, neither of this is our answer. I mean, talking about the export and import policy, that is not, we are not considering any of that at all. So we're now left with 2, which is monetary policy and fiscal policy. Now let's take our mind back to when we taught this monetary policy and fiscal policy. Now, we're made to know that monetary policy, of course, is controlled by the CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria. And they are also the one that are in charge of bank rate, they are one in charge of cash ratio and open market operation. Bank rate also means interest rate. So all of these are controlled by the CBN. And that, of course, is monetary policy, and which is correct answer. It's not fiscal policy, because fiscal policy, it simply means government expenditure and revenue and taxation using all these tools to manipulate how market operates. But the monetary policy is controlled by the CBN, and some of the tools that CBN use to control other commercial banks are those bank rates, cash ratio, and the open market operation, also known as OMO. Now move to question number 7. Question number 7 says the scale of preference shows what? You know, the scale of preference we were taught introduction into economics in SS1. We were taught about some of these, the 5 basic concepts in economics, which are your wants, scarcity. Then because of scarcity, you your opportunity cost, your scale of preference, and because of your preference, from there you're able to make your choices, and when you make your choices, then there's an opportunity cost. So all of these, we have them. Now the scale of preference actually shows the order of priorities of consumer wants, because our wants are unlimited, and that's one of the reasons why we study economics, because of unlimited wants. There are many, they are numerous. So how do you solve them? You need to draw your scale of preference. So scale of preference simply means when you arrange your wants in their order of priority. Now question number 8 says that the gross national product, GNP, less provision of the wear and tear asset is the what? Now remember, how do you calculate your NNP, which is net national product? Of course, our net national product, which is NNP, is equals to GNP, the GNP minus depreciation, minus D. And what are our depreciation? They are wear and tears. So if you do that, you are going to get net national. Now, question number 9 says, which of the following factor is not a cause of diminishing returns. Of course, the law of diminishing returns, also known as law of variable proportions, help us to say that whenever we are adding an increasing variable cost to a fixed cost, it will first of all, the production will keep on increasing, but it will get to a level whereby the output will keep falling. So, which among of these is not a cause of that? Of course, if you increase your variable inputs, it will cause it. Constant technology, that you are not changing your technology, you keep on using technology over time. After some time, some of this technology become obsolete. It is just taken out, and that can also cause the diminishing return to setting. Land fragmentation can also be a factor too. But the only thing that cannot cause diminishing return is technological innovation. As a matter of fact, when you get involved in technological innovation, it tends to do well in your output level. Now, question number 10 says, in a perfectly elastic supply, the supply curve looks like what? What they are simply telling you here is that you should draw the supply curve of a perfectly elastic supply. Of course, a perfectly elastic supply simply means that any change in price will have an infinite effect on the commodity being supplied by the producer. So under that, remember when you want to draw that, you are going to have your vertical line and horizontal line, and your elasticity, perfect elasticity of supply, of course, will be parallel to the quantity axis. Remember, this is quantity, and here is price. Is that taken out? So the elasticity of supply here, which is ES, is always infinite. So it will be parallel to the quantity but perpendicular to the price. So of course it's going to be horizontal. So the correct option there is B. Now question number 11 says, an example of transfer payments in national income accounting is what? We have option A, money transfer to another country. Option B, transfer of funds from one bank to another. Option C, unemployment allowance paid to the citizens. And option D, the amount paid to a worker on transfer. Now, transfer payments under national income accounting, when you are taught, of course, it has to do with those payments that they have no economic values, that they are the payments you earn as a result of no economic values attached at all. And some of those things, when you are taught, there are things that have to do with allowance, things that have to do with pension, and things that have to do with allowance paid to the citizens. So the correct option there is unemployment allowance paid to the citizens, because these citizens did not work for it. So there is no economic activity involved in the payment in which they have received. So under that, we do not capture this transfer payment under national income accounting. These are some of the things we avoid under national income accounting. We don't add them to it. So the correct option there is C. Now question number 12. The question says that which of the following industries will add more value to primary products? Of course, primary products, they are under the primary production. This thing has to do with farming, this has to do with the mining, this has to do with quarry and the rest of them, fishing and the rest of them. All of these, they are under the primary production. So we are now asked that in order for you to add the value to primary product, of course, what add value to primary product are the secondary products. Because after secondary production, we move to tertiary production. So the question now is that which among all of these options now is a secondary production, which will add value to what primary production has made available. For example, under primary production, you produce things like flour. The flour that you made available to cassava or wheat, any other way, any other thing, of course, you need to add value to them. For example, that flour, you can turn that flour to baking of bread. So baking of bread is an example of secondary production, which is adding value to that flour. Another one is cocoa. Cocoa is a primary product from primary production, which is through farming. Now, what will add value to that cocoa, of course, is when you turn that cocoa into beverages such as teas and the rest of them. So, the only one among all of these options can have the construction industry, because construction industry is a tertiary industry, so it's not a secondary industry. It cannot be mining, because mining itself is part of primary production. It cannot be service industry, because service industry is also a tertiary production. But the correct answer there is processing industry, which will process these raw materials into finished goods, and that is for secondary production. So that is correct answer there. Now question number 13 says, a consumer of a single commodity is in equilibrium when what happens? That is, when is a single consumer at equilibrium? Remember when you were taught this topic in economics under the utility maximization, we were told that a single consumer is at equilibrium where mu subscript x, this x has to do with commodity in question, is equal to P subscript x, that is when marginal utility is equal to the price. The x here are the commodity we are referring to. So if marginal utility of a particular commodity in which a consumer has used is equal to the price of that commodity, then it is said that such consumer is at equilibrium. So which of them is the correct answer there? Of course, the correct answer there is that C, which says it equates marginal utility with price. Equate means equal. So that is that. Then question number 14. The production of rice and yam on the same farmland is an example of what type of supply? Is it a joint supply? Is it a composite supply, competitive supply, or market supply? Now, both of them are being planted on the same farm. And of course, the farmer will harvest this commodity and supply them into the market at the same time. So that is joint supply. So that is correct answer. It's not composite, because composite supply simply means a supply that can serve to a more purpose. That is not the answer. A competitive supply simply means when the two commodities are in competition. That cannot be the answer, and it's not a market supply either. So the correct answer is joint supply. So question number 15 now. If the government imposes a minimum price on a commodity, what will happen? That is, whenever government imposes a minimum price, notice that's one of the questions we've discussed in this part 1. Whenever government sets a minimum price, which is a price above the equilibrium price, of course, is to favor the producer. So the producer, they are happy, and because of that, they will supply more goods into the markets. That will happen. So which of these options listed here, of course, satisfy that explanation? It is that there will be a market supply, a market surplus will happen, because producers, they are happy. Prices is not above the equilibrium price, so they will be willing to supply more into the market. So market surplus will occur. That will happen under price minimum. But if it is price maximum, it will be excess demand that will occur, because that favors the consumers. Now, question number 16 says, in manufacturing, division of labor may be hindered by, that is, which one of these things, option listed there, excess demand for the product, low level of technology, excess supply of the labor, or increase in export of goods, will hinder or will cause a more like a discouragement to division of labor, that will not make division of labor to function effectively. If you look at them very well, excess demand for the product will even make division of labor to even function. Because of that, because if there is excess demand for a product, people are demanding for more, there will be more goods needed, so the producer will have to practice division of labor so that he can be able to meet up with their requirements. Now, low level of technology will be a factor truly, because there is low level of technology, a firm cannot practice division of labor. Division of labor requires technology. So if there is low level of technology, it can never work. So low level of technology will hinder it. Excess supply of labor cannot be a problem. An increase in export of goods will even encourage division of labor. We move to question number 17. It says that the production cost that varies inversely with output is what? Answer. We have options such as total fixed cost, marginal cost, average fixed cost, and average cost. What the question is saying is that which one among all of these varies inversely? That is, when output is increasing, it will be decreasing. Which among them? The correct answer there is average cost. Why? Because average cost equals to total cost all over quantity. Now remember, in your total cost is where we have both the fixed cost and the variable cost. So the fixed cost is not changing, but variable cost is changing. So the more you are increasing your quantity, your Q, output is increasing. The more you keep on increasing, you observe that your average cost will be depreciating. It will be falling. So when quantity is increasing, average cost is falling. So there is an. So question number 18 says that a firm that closes down will still incur what? Is it variable cost, fixed cost, total cost, or marginal cost? Of course, the answer is fixed cost. Because variable cost, it has to do with output. The more you produce, the more your variable cost. So it's no longer producing, so it's not incurring any variable cost. So that can never be the answer. However, fixed cost is a cost that is borne even before production is taking place. So even when a firm closes down, remember, he has already spent money in acquiring a lot of things, machineries, buildings, vehicles, and others. So this fixed cost, it will still bear there even when it's shorter. It can be total cost and it cannot be marginal cost. So the answer is fixed cost. Now question number 19 says a disadvantage of joint stock company is what? Well, what are joint stock companies? Joint stock companies are also known as public limited liability company, the PLCs. Now, these joint stock companies, of course, they are limited liability, so they cannot be unlimited. So neither A or B is the answer. Lack of continuity when shareholder dies. No, because they are PLC, they are public limited liability company. Even when the shareholder die, the others shareholders still continue with the running of the business. Because as a matter of fact, under a joint stock company, you set up a management, okay, who runs who are known as the board that runs the company. Then the D says limited control in management by shareholders. That is the answer, because they are PLC, they are set up by law. There are some stringent laws or rules that must be followed. So, and those laws have been set by the government before a company can become a PLC. Also restrict the shareholders in doing some certain things at times. So that limits their power, and that will be option D. Now question number 20 says that a positive effect of a rapid population increase is what? That if there is a rapid population increase, population keep on increasing, what would be a positive effect? A good thing that will happen. Now look at option A. It says an excessive budget deficit. That is a negative thing. So it can never be the answer. Remember, we are talking about positive effect. Excessive budget deficit is very bad. It's one of the negative effects of population increase, because government will run budget deficit, but they have money people now to spend money on. Then a reduction in standard of living, also one of the consequences or one of the negative effects. Now look at this D here. D here says a higher dependency ratio, also one of the negative effects. When you have more people who are dependent more than independent, so that will lead to a higher dependency ratio. But when a population is increasing, or is growing large, a rapid population, it will surely lead to a wider market for goods and services. That is, people cannot be able to buy more. There are now be more people available to sell goods and services to. So the market will now be large, a wider market, because there is now increase in population. Nigeria, of course, has a very high population. Of course, one of the good things about Nigeria's large population is wide market. So whenever there is a high population, there will also be a wider market for goods and services. So that C is the correct answer. Now move to question number 21. Which of the following factors may not affect efficiency of labor? Now, what are efficiency of labor? It simply means the ability of the labor to be able to carry out a job using little time to acquire or to achieve more tasks. So which one of them will make a labor to be well efficient? Okay, or may not affect it. Education and training is very, very important. As a matter of fact, education and training are one of the most important factors that determines efficiency of labor. So if a labor is not well educated, is not well trained, cannot be efficient. So that can never be the answer. It's one of the factors. Then we say provision of welfare services. When you also provide welfare to the workers, they are more happy. They are happy to do more. So that can also not be the answer. It's one of the factors. Remember, we are looking for which one is not a factor that can affect the efficiency of labor. Now, race and color is not a factor. Nobody is after your race or your color, whether you are black or you are brown or you are white, or your race, whether you are Nigerian, a Ghanaian, or an American. It doesn't matter. All that matter is that, are you good? Are you qualified? Are you well trained? Do you have education? Do you have the experience? That doesn't matter. So race and color can never be a factor that affect it. But and quality of factor input can also be a factor. So the correct answer is C. Then question number 22 says, the type of unemployment found among workers who leave their jobs in search of other jobs is termed, that means when worker leaves their job, they are already working in a particular company, but they want to change their job to another company. So that time frame in which they are going to be unemployed, what is that kind of unemployment called? Of course, the answer is fictional unemployment. Fictional unemployment also affects new graduates who are still in search of job. They are yet to find a job. Maybe the ones they've been offered, they've been saying they are not well pleased with it. So that is also known as fictional unemployment. Seasonal unemployment, of course, it has to do with the seasons. There are some jobs that are seasonal jobs. Okay, that when the season is over, you tend to lose your job. For example, if you are imagine a company that is into sending of things that have to do with Christmas things. You can remember during December, that is when they are more active because their product sells more during December. But anything has to do with January, February, March, they might be out of job. Structural unemployment has to do with when the skill of an employer, of an employee rather, is already obsolete. It has been taken over by a machine. So that is structural unemployment. And cyclical unemployment, this one has to do with whenever an economy is experiencing depression, in which companies are shutting down, and because they are shutting down, they have to lay off their workers. So that can also not be the answer. So the correct answer there is fictional unemployment. Question number 23 says that the use of mass advertisement media enable a firm to enjoy what type of economies. You remember when you were taught economies of scales, there were two types of economies of scales. Two main types. We have the internal and the external economies of scale. Now, this one we are talking about is the internal economies of scale, in which big firms now, they are able to, because they have the capital resources, they are able to use big medias to advertise their product, and that makes their product to be well received by potential buyers, and that makes their product to be easily sold in the market. So that is market economics. But they are able to marketing economy rather, they are able to market or to advertise their products. Number 24 says that increase in national income without effective control of population size in a country can lead to what? What that means is that even though you are trying to increase your national income, your wealth as a nation, but yet you are not controlling your population, what will happen? You are going to have increase in poverty. Your poverty will still increasing. So even though you want to minimize poverty, as you are increasing national income, you also need to control your population as well. So number 25 says that an example of a commodity money is what? Currency money is not a commodity money. Mobile money is not. Check is not. It is silver. Silver is one of the commodity money. Another one is things out of the golds and the rest of them. These are metals, commodities that are used in those olden days to in buying and selling of goods and services. So silver is an example of such commodity money. Now number 26 says if inflation is anticipated, people may, that's it, when people are expecting that an economy will experience inflation, what would the citizens of that country, what would they be doing at that very moment? Would they save more money, as option A says? Would they spend more money, get out more loans, or spend less money? Of course, whenever people anticipate there will be an inflation, the rational thing that they will do is for them to spend more money, because they know that price of goods and services will increase in the market. So they rather use the money they have now to buy those goods on time, ahead, before the inflation happens. So that, because if they keep saving money, it will be useless, because inflation will keep the value of that money in the economy. And question number 27 says that if the central bank increases its bank rate, what will happen? If that ever happens, money supply will reduce, because it discourages people from borrowing money in the market, because interest rates has increased in the market, or bank rates. So people will not be able to borrow more money again. So that will be the correct option as a day. So money supply will reduce. So we now move to question number 28. Question number 28 says commercial banks are different from development banks in that the later, what they're simply telling you is that what differentiates a commercial bank from a development bank? What are the things that commercial banks can do that development bank cannot do? Now, the latter here has to do with development bank. That is, how does a development bank differentiate from a commercial bank? Now, normally commercial banks are those banks that are actually established to provide essential services to the public, such as deposit money, keeping of valuables, and giving us some loans. So, but which one of these options now can a development bank cannot do, but the commercial bank can do? That's what the question is even saying. Which one of the development bank cannot do? Now, lending of short-term basis, of course, that is a function of a commercial bank. It's not for development bank. Then paying interest on current account only, that is also for a commercial bank, not for a development bank. Now, mostly joint stock companies, of course, commercial bank also PLC. Okay, then do not deal in foreign currency. Now, commercial banks does in foreign currency, but development bank do not deal with foreign currency because they are actually bank setups to grant loans and to grant big time loans, selling of grants for agricultural and industrial uses to enhance economic activity. So dealing with foreign currency is not actually their main priority. Okay, but so that is be the correct answer, which is option D. However, when it comes to lending on short-term basis and the rest of it, is actually they are mainly made for commercial banks. Now we move to the question number 29. Question number 29 says that the fiscal policy measures imply a change in what? Remember we said that fiscal policy is that policy that is controlled by the government. So it's mostly for government revenue and expenditure to regulate an economy. So that is for fiscal policy. Bank rate is monetary policy. It's not for it's not under fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is mainly for government revenue and expenditure to regulate economic activity. And the last question, question number 30, says that development planning focuses mainly on what? Development planning here is a function of the government, and it is mostly mean when government set out policy strategies, okay, put policy strategies in place to bring about economic growth and development, to enhance the economic potential of a country and the well-being of a country. So the correct option there is mapping out strategies by the government. These are economic strategies to improve economic stability of a country. So this is where we are going to stop for today. Question number 30, we are through with the questions. So please go to them, watch the video once again, and look at the explanation to some of these questions and the correct answers to them. And I also encourage you to please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can continue to receive updates such as this.